Try to fight me back. You can't break me. Try it, and you shall see. I'm back.
So, guest 666, the worst killer in Forsaken, according to people who tried him twice, got looped around a rock and immediately closed the game. And honestly, you could say the same about any killer if you don't know what you're doing. In the right hands, Sixer isn't weak, slow, or useless. He's a huge walking disaster. But Sixer can be easily looped, as most people say. Yeah, so can literally any other killer. Even Nosferatu can be looped. The difference is that Sixer, just like any other killer, has his own ways to deal with loopers, if you actually use his kit properly. Another popular take is that Sixer is slow, and at this point I genuinely want to ask, have you ever played him without just mashing W, losing the chases and hoping for the best? I won't throw numbers at you, you don't really need them. What you do need to understand is his abilities in general, without just description reading. Sixer has a passive ability called Manic Fixation. Whenever you chase a survivor who is highlighted in red, Sixer gains a movement speed bonus. That alone already changes everything. This means that outside of temporary abilities like Void Rush or Walk Speed Override, Sixer is effectively the fastest killer in the game, as long as you know how to keep that red highlight active. And now, with that in mind, let's talk about his actives, because this is where most guides completely fall apart. First, Demonic Pursuit. This ability launches Sixer forward at insane speed, and once activated, it's completely uncontrollable. It's not meant to be spammed, it's not meant to be used mid-panic, it's a commitment. If you tilt your camera upward while charging, the trajectory goes higher. That allows you to jump over obstacles, onto structures, and sometimes onto places survivors don't even consider dangerous at the moment. Just look what can you do with this ability. By the way, the longer you charge it, up to 2 seconds though, the higher and further your jump will be, and the more damage you will deal upon landing on a survivor. But there's a cost. If you miss, you lose distance, tempo, and most importantly, time. If you bump into an obstacle, you get end lag. Same idea as Slasher missing an M1 in Raging Pace, or Noli whiffing Void Rush. Nothing special, just punishment for poor commitment. Used correctly though, Demonic Pursuit lets you cross half the map instantly, jump scare careless survivors who were chilling or doing gens, close massive gaps in chase, cut survivors off instead of following them, and on top of all that, a successful hit applies Hemorrhage, which brings us to arguably the most painful debuff in the game. Hemorrhage does several things at once. It gradually blocks healing, creates blood particles, making survivors more visible even while they're invisible, say hello to N7, and causes survivors to drop blood orbs over time. Survivors can remove hemorrhage by asking teammates for help, using a med kit, which removes hemorrhage but doesn't heal, or just wait for 90 seconds. If they'll can last, of course, and even after it's removed, healing is still blocked for a short time until it's gradually available again. So no, hemorrhage is not just a debuff, it's control, and Sixer has multiple ways to abuse it. Next up we have Infernal Cry. It's a projectile that goes through walls, is aimed with your cursor, and if it hits a survivor, they get a red highlight, which immediately activates Manic Fixation. If that survivor is already hemorrhaged, they also drop 3 blood orbs upon being hit by the roar. And remember, blood orbs don't just fill your blood meter, they also reduce cooldowns on your abilities. So Infernal Cry isn't a scouting tool, it's an accelerator and blood farmer. I wouldn't mention blindness debuff, it also applies on survivors, because who cares about it? It's almost useless. Now, Blood Rush. Some guides describe it as an ability that reveals all survivors, which is technically true, in the same way saying a hurricane is just wind is technically true. Come on, Blood Rush highlights all survivors in red, meaning Manic Fixation is active against anyone. You don't need Infernal Cry to start a powered chase, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to realize what's possible with this at this point. Once your blood meter fills, Blood Rush is replaced by Blood Hunt, which is often called broken. And honestly, yeah, it kind of is. During Blood Hunt, all survivors are permanently red highlighted. Hemorrhage survivors turn white, making them stand out in the red filter. Sixer becomes immune to stuns. Instead of being stunned, you get a 2-second helpless and slowness debuffs, which isn't the problem. Abilities also change. Demonic Pursuit deals more damage, especially to long hemorrhage survivors. Infernal Cry now deals 10 damage and grants massive speed and strength boosts. You run like Usain Bolt. You hit like Tyson. Kills during Blood Hunt extend its duration by 10 seconds. Instantly reset ability cooldowns, and if a survivor is nearby, the timer drains much slower. Blood Hunt isn't just a buff, it's a collapse. Finally, Eviscerate. Activated by holding M1, it lunges you forward, is fully controllable, deals 10 damage and applies Hemorrhage if landed. It costs 10 blood, but if it lands, you get 15 back. If you miss, you get a slowness debuff for 2 seconds and look like a clown. Which means one thing, this is not a button you press randomly. You have to time it and use it only when needed. A few important principles before we move to gameplay. Never use Eviscerate just because you can. Think of it like Slasher's Behead. It's for closing distance and applying Hemorrhage, not for point-blank damage. There's also a blind spot right next to Sixer's body. Use Eviscerate too close and you'll miss, waste blood, get slowed, and look unfortunate. Blood Hunt is terrifying, but it's not something you rush. Sometimes it's better to delay it, get some more blood orbs dropped for the future, hemorrhage some more survivors and only then activate it. Other times, yes, you can pop it instantly and obliterate an uncoordinated team in under 2 minutes. Context matters. I sometimes even intentionally miss Eviscerate to drop blood below the blood hunt threshold and get blood rush back instead, because tracking non-hemorrhage survivors is easier that way, so you can put more terror first. Additionally, if you're bad enough, which is okay, everything comes with practice, you can just waste blood hunt and get 0 blood again. I prefer using it either to get rid of the most annoying and sweating survivors, or to just terrify remaining ones. You can clearly win rounds without using blood hunt at all. Infernal Cry should almost never be used on already highlighted survivors, unless you're farming blood from a hemorrhage target. Demonic Pursuit is situational. Missing isn't the end of the world, but well-timed, guaranteed pursuits are what separate good sixes from educational examples. And one last thing, probably the most important tip of all. Almost always play in first-person view. Your model won't block vision, survivors are easier to track, hits are more reliable, and cutting corners becomes dramatically easier. However, when you kill someone or when you landed Demonic Pursuit, go back to third-person view for a moment to keep an eye for survivor you're dealing with or to others nearby. Now let's put all of this into practice. You shouldn't play Guess 666 like other killers. He's different. At the start of the round, I don't rush. I let survivors feel safe. I wait for blood rush to come off cooldown. Then I use it, not to chase blindly, but to choose. Careless survivor, open line, full demonic pursuit charge. If it lands, perfect. 40 blood, hemorrhage applied, pressure established. If it misses, that's fine. I switch to standard chase, build blood, pick one prey, apply hemorrhage later with Eviscerate, finish it and go track the others. From there, it's simple. Hunt one by one. Hemorrhage anyone who interferes with sudden demonic pursuits or with Eviscerate. Punish grouping. Deny healing. Elliot's pizza becomes merely a suggestion. Shedletsky doesn't eat. Veronica doesn't use battery. Medkits barely help. If you see survivors group up to remove hemorrhage, abandon your current chase and go ruin their day instead. Pressure beats persistence. LMS part is slightly different. Blood Hunt is no longer available, no matter what. And although you still have Blood Rush and Manic Fixation, there's a catch. Never. You hear me? Never use Blood Rush immediately. For the first seconds of LMS, Survivor is highlighted with yellow or not highlighted at all if it's noob, 2-time or N7 who get undetectable status for some time. If you use Blood Rush during this, congrats. You just wasted it completely. Survivor won't be highlighted with red, you won't get speed bonus, you won't track them. Wait for it to end and only then activate Blood Rush to get red highlight and speed. And unless you have a guaranteed hit, avoid using Demonic Pursuit. Missing it in LMS can cost you the round, especially if you flew too far. For a conclusion, Guest 666 isn't weak. He's just not meant to be played like the others. And my thoughts, there are no bad killers in Forsaken, only players who messes them up. And Sixer? In the right hands, he's one of the most terrifying killers in the game, and genuinely the most fun and entertaining one. Now it's time for some uncut server wiping. Feel free to skip to the outro for some montage. On that note, cheers out. I won't show you wins only. Did you have any doubts? I also had a round where I made ton of mistakes. Just look how miserably it can go if you play carelessly. Also, here's a great example why Blood Hunt won't help much if you play like a dummy. Just as me here. By the way, try avoiding using Demonic Pursuit close to tough walls and objects, because here's what can happen. In this round, I still got this Veronica, but if it would be full HP Survivor, you're lost.